Yes, welcome everyone once again to Cannabis News with Joe Klare. It is May 18th, 2018, presented by the Marijuana Times. Check us out on marijuanatimes.org. A bunch of great articles by a bunch of great writers up there, marijuanatimes.org. You can also find this show, find the videos on our Facebook page, also audio version of the show on Apple Podcasts. Search the Marijuana Times on Apple Podcasts to find the show. And of course, now on Vimeo, vimeo.com/marijuanatimesx, or search the Marijuana Times on Vimeo. Today, more about medical marijuana in Florida. Also, someone famous, another person who is famous, has been outed as at least a sometime marijuana cannabis user. I know that's not big news anymore, but I think there's a reason, at least for this particular person, that it is kind of important to one of the themes we talk about on this show all the time. Also, U.S. Representative Pete Sessions, he's the one that's blocked marijuana amendments from reaching the House floor for the last couple of years. He's being targeted for replacement in Texas. We'll tell you about all of that coming up. First, Cannabis News brought to you by NatureSideCannabis.com. Side is spelled C-I-D-E. Check out their organic, all-natural pesticides. NatureSideCannabis.com, a proud sponsor of the show. Be regulatory compliant, grow safe and poison-free. Don't use harmful chemicals on your grow. Use Natureside Cannabis. Check them out, NatureSideCannabis.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. This first story is from Julia Granowitz over at marijuanatimes.org. Florida patients continue to fight for the right to smoke medical marijuana. Now, we've been chronicling the problems between the state legislature and the Department of Health when it comes to regulations and getting regulations implemented in Florida. Well, the state legislature also has banned smoking from the medical marijuana program. John Morgan, the person behind, one of the major backers financially and in the press, behind Amendment 2, which was passed in 2016 and legalized medical marijuana in Florida. He has a problem with that, so he has filed suit, and things are moving along. He said before a recent hearing that happened this week, he said, quote, "The amendment itself says smoking is not allowed in public places. I don't think you need to be much of a legal scholar to understand that means it is allowed in other places," meaning someone's private residence, places of that nature. This Wednesday, Leon County Circuit Court Judge Karen Grievers heard testimony from two of the plaintiffs in the case challenging the state's ban on smokable cannabis. Kathy Jordan, who suffers from ALS, and Diana Dodson, who suffers from HIV and neuropathy. Both have been treating their medical marijuana conditions illegally despite the new legality of their medicine because of the way they need to use it for the best results. "My doctors are really not concerned with the risk because I'm still alive. In 86, I was given 3 to 5 years to live, and I'm still here," testified Kathy Jordan. Jordan says she has tried other forms of medicating, but none have been as effective. She told the court that edibles cause stomach pain and that vaping makes her gag, but the main side effect of smoking is dry mouth, which actually helps with the excessive drooling often caused by her condition. In other words, they should have the choice. These people should have the choice. That's the whole point of medical marijuana. So what kills me about these medical marijuana laws, and they say, well, you can't do it this way or this way or this way, and you can't buy this, and you can't buy this, you can't buy more than this. The whole point is for them to have a choice. To get away from the pills, to get to have a more effective medicine, one that's less deadly, less addictive. But then there has to be, the nanny state, again, comes out of these politicians and says, well, smoking's not good for you, so we shouldn't let these people smoke it. Let them decide on their own what they want to do. Now, moving on to the famous person who smokes weed sometimes. I know. On the surface, it sounds like, oh, it's another boring story. We've heard this before. But no, stick with me. Apparently, Gayle King, best friend of Oprah Winfrey, and apparently she is also on television, like Good Morning America, I think it is. She was on Ellen DeGeneres recently. I missed the episode. I rarely miss an Ellen, but I missed this one. And she outed her best friend, Oprah Winfrey, as a sometimes kind of sort of marijuana user. This story, as you can find the video from the Ellen show all over YouTube. This story specifically is from Hornet.com. This is Gayle King stopped by the Ellen DeGeneres show for the first time ever, and during her visit, she dropped a truth bomb that left us reeling. While she revealed she has never smoked marijuana, she also admitted that her best friend, Oprah Winfrey, does. That's right, Oprah smokes pot. Now, to be fair, she says that Oprah smokes sometimes, I believe is the exact quote, or has smoked sometimes, which I guess and part of me is surprised that it hasn't made bigger news, but part of me is not surprised. King says, we've had a conversation. We were talking about Amy Schumer. She said Amy Schumer was there. Ellen DeGeneres said about King's birthday party. And there may have been some marijuana being smoked around the place, so Amy Schumer is now said I'm smoking pot with you. King says, we had a conversation later about marijuana, and I said I've never smoked a marijuana cigarette. I never have. Maybe that's part of the problem. I call it a cigarette. I mean, the audience laughed at her for calling it a marijuana cigarette. Once Schumer found this out, she reportedly said, well, we have to do something about it. King went on to describe herself as a big square. She said, I would try it with Amy, but I don't intend to do it publicly. I said I would do it with Amy. Oprah smoked a little marijuana too. I don't mind saying I'm not telling tales out of school. DeGeneres followed up the admission with a question, does she like it? Does Oprah like it? I refused to answer on the grounds to incriminate her, Gayle King answered. It's not something that happens on a regular basis. Then she quickly trails off before trying to change the subject. Maybe something she wasn't supposed to say. She started qualifying it right after. But here's the thing. We talk a lot about one of the major themes of this show is the mainstreaming of marijuana, the normalization of marijuana, the moving of marijuana from a fringe issue into something that is so mainstream that people don't even think about it. I often use the analogy of movies. If you watch a movie and somebody's drinking a beer, you might not even remember they were drinking a beer after the movie is over. You see somebody smoking a joint, you remember, oh, that's that guy in that movie that smoked a joint that one time. It's not something that goes past us. It's something we notice, unlike alcohol. But someone like Oprah, who's very mainstream, who is trusted and looked up to by a lot of people who normally wouldn't look into the issue of marijuana, or if they saw it on the ballot, they would say, "Oh no, I've heard bad things." Maybe they'll look into it. Maybe they will. It'll alter their thinking on the subject. At the very least, it's another step in pushing marijuana into that realm and past that line where we no longer think about it. It's so normal. It's so mainstream. It's so in the culture. It's so legal. Obviously, it's one of the most important planks that we don't think about it. And I'm not expecting Oprah to come out, wearing a normal T-shirt and smoking a blunt on TV, but maybe her friend Gayle King did a service to the marijuana community. Maybe if not to Oprah, I don't know if Oprah wanted people to know that. I would think if Oprah wants to know people to know she's blazing up, she would let us know. This last story is from DallasObserver.com. We've talked a lot about Pete Sessions. He's the chairman of the House Rules Committee. He's got a lot of marijuana amendments coming to the House floor for a vote. Over the last couple years, now he's being targeted for replacement in Texas. Pro-marijuana super PAC targets Pete Sessions' House seat. U.S. Representative Pete Sessions' 32nd Congressional District seat is one the Democratic Party hopes to flip in November, and it's not alone. A pro-marijuana political action committee also wants Sessions out of his seat. He possesses a considerable amount of power in the House as an 11-term representative and chairman of the House Committee on Rules, which sets the rules in the original jurisdiction on legislative matters. And listen to this. According to the committee's website, quote, can do virtually anything during the course of consideration of a measure. That sounds ominous. Is that the way it's supposed to work? The committee would have can do virtually, this is from their website, virtually anything. That seems excessive to me, but again, who am I? Sessions has used his position to take a hard stand against marijuana reform legislation. He's blocked reform amendments that would allow cannabis businesses operating in legal states to access banks and file business expense tax deductions. He's also sponsored and co-sponsored several bills expressing his hardline on the subject, including the self-explanatory No Welfare for Weed Act of 2015. And this is the reasoning he gives. Quote, across the country, families, businesses, and our judicial system have seen the devastating impact of drug abuse. Even governors in states like California have expressed their concern about how we can continue to have a successful economy when we normalize drug use in our communities. I am firmly against allowing these merchants of addiction to infiltrate our communities and bring down our children and families. I understand the need to learn more about marijuana's impact, which is why I've been consulting with the National Institute of Health about the dangerous effects of drug use. Of course, this is an old prohibition tactic to conflate marijuana with drug abuse and all other drugs. They're all much more harmful and dangerous than marijuana is itself. Rob Campia, who was the co-founder of the lobbying group Marijuana Policy Project, left in December to create the Marijuana Leadership Campaign. He doesn't disguise his disgust for Sessions and the representatives attempt to block marijuana reform in Congress. He calls Sessions, quote, the sphincter who's constantly blocking all of the marijuana amendments. It's pretty succinct. We have to get rid of him to get our amendments to the floor of the House, Campia says. Once we get rid of him, I know we can get our amendments passed. Campia started a new super PAC focused on getting Sessions out of office in November. Campia says his goal was to make his group the NRA of marijuana. Sessions won 71% of the vote for his race in 2016, but he did so without any Democratic opposition. Presidential candidate Hillary Clinton won a slim majority of voters over Trump in the congressional district by a margin of just under 2%. So it's a district that Hillary won over Trump, which could spell doom for Pete Sessions, which would be a good thing, because Campia is right. If a lot of these amendments get to the floor, they're going to be voted on, and they're going to be passed, and that's going to remove one of the last roadblocks to a national end to prohibition. That's federal law. It's a major roadblock. It needs to be gotten rid of. Hopefully, getting rid of Sessions can go a long way toward doing that. That is it for us. May 18th, 2018 here on Cannabis News. That's the end of the week. Your weekend can now officially start. Go enjoy it. We'll see you back here next week. Thank you to NatureSideCannabis.com for being a proud sponsor of the show. NatureSideCannabis.com. Check out their organic, all-natural pesticides. And we'll see you all next week on Cannabis News.